Hello, beautiful people. Hope you're doing well. Oh, what a Friday. What a Friday. Who watched Phil and Graham in the agenda at one? I managed to catch sort of the last half an hour. Having a coffee. How are you doing, Elle? All good, I hope. Thank you for being here, my moderator. It may just be you and me this afternoon. May just be you and I. Oh, how are you doing, Elle? I'm just having a biscuit. I'm starving. Hi, blah, blah. Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Not many people joining this afternoon, but that's okay. It may just be the three of us. Let's see if anybody else joins. Another person has joined. Wonderful. If you are watching and you would like to join the beautiful people in the chat, you can subscribe to the channel and then wait a minute or so and you'll be able to comment in the chat. If you do comment, please keep the chat polite and be courteous and kind to each other. We've all got shit going on at the moment, every one of us. There's shit everywhere. So let's try and be nice to each other. I know, like I say, it can be difficult, but I do have my moderators in the chat, and it looks like all I've got in the chat at the moment are my mods. So you guys won't have much to do this afternoon, but it's wonderful to see you here. Hi, Chris C, my producer. I haven't managed to set up your song today because my Mozilla Firefox went down, and so I had to reset everything. And then I thought, right, while that's happening, I shall make myself a coffee. So let's see who else joins this afternoon before I begin. I've got a really funny thing for you for later on. It's really, really funny. So I shall start with Andrew, formerly known as Prince. My mother's calling me. I knew she'd call. As soon as I went live, I'm thinking to myself, my mum's calling. She'll leave a message. Hopefully she'll figure out that I have to tell her on the telly. She doesn't understand, you know, she's 88 and she doesn't understand that I'm live streaming on YouTube and, you know, so I just tell her I'm on the telly. It's just easier. So she says, oh, can I watch you? I said, no, Mum, you can't. I'll set up a YouTube for her when I go through there, but she can barely figure out the remote controls on, you know, for what she watches, because my mum's partially sighted. She's nearly blind. She's as deaf as a doorpost. So when I'm on the phone with her, I have to be on speakerphone and I'm pretty much shouting down the phone, you know, like, can you hear me, Mum? And yeah, she doesn't always sort of technology. I mean, my mum's silent generation, you know, she was born in 1937, I think. So yeah, she was born a long time ago. So yeah. Hi, Viper Scott. Lovely to see you. Thank you for joining. Good to see you here. Chris C, I'm slightly annoyed that Andrew was released under investigation and not released on bail. Yeah, I agree. They could have, you know, made his bail like £1 billion. Wouldn't that have been awesome? Put that immediately into the police. Sorry, I'm covered in cat fur, as always. Into the police purses. That would have been really good. I saw last night that he'd been released. I was very pissed off myself. But that photo of him in the back of the car, like, looks like he's got something shoved up his bum. I thought maybe his butt plug came out. I don't know. Maybe, you know, maybe they did a rectal search, you know. I don't know. I hope so. I hope that he suffered the embarrassment that the vast majority of prisoners who go to, who go into prison, who go through the whole, process. I hope he suffered the same as everybody else. I really do. Excuse me. Hi, wake up and smell the rosemaries. Good to see you. Good to see you. Stop that. Stop that. Sorry. I've got to tell the computer off. The bail system doesn't work like over in the UK. Police bail can either be unconditional or conditional. Why am I seeing Tesco? Why am I seeing Tesco? I don't know. Oh, that's why. Because I did my shopping yesterday, and I do my shopping online because I can't do shops. I just can't. Mental health and shops do not go well together. I end up getting so stressed, and sometimes I've just had to leave my trolley in the middle of the shop and leave. I try and go in when it's quiet. So I go in like trolley and literally run round for what I need. And I like see down the aisle. Is it packed? Yeah, I'll go to the next aisle. I'll come back to that aisle later. I just can't do it anymore. Which is why I'm glad that they've got these self-checkouts, because I'd normally go through there. But it's also not fair on the employees at Tesco that you're using self-checkout. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I think certain people should be allowed to use self-checkout, like us with mental health issues, who don't like to deal with people, but everybody else should go to the big tills. Have I seen the new series, The Curfew, on Channel 5 yet? No, Alex, I haven't. How are you guys? Hopefully you're doing well. What is it about? I pretty much watch, if it's on, if I can get it on the internet stuff, I'll watch it, because my box for the TV doesn't work, because my aerial attached to the house, the pigeons like to shag on it and it's loose and the cable keeps coming out, and I just can't be doing with the TV guy, the aerial guy coming out every week to fix the bloody thing. Tesco ads getting battery drills big time, darn it. I did search for one. My wee cat has covered well from being spayed, back to her usual self. Oh, how old is she, Rosemary's? How old is she? So what's the curfew about, Alex? Let me know. I'm so glad she's recovering, Rosemary's. Yeah, I've got 5 girls. They've all been spayed, and my one, she had to be spayed centrally instead of on the side because she was pregnant, and I knew she was. And bless her. So she took a little bit longer to recover than the rest. But she's daft. She's absolutely daft. When I got back from my run, because now it's afternoon, it's sitting on knee time. So she was shouting at me, like, meow, meow. She really shouts. And so, I mean, I get back from my run. I'm knackered today after my run. It was really hard today. And so I sit in my chair in the dining room, and I update my stats and everything through steamy glasses, go to the loo, get something else to drink, sit down, take off my trainers, and then I go upstairs and wash and change and stuff. So yeah, and then she's still shouting at me while I'm changing. So I quickly had something to eat, and she sat on my knee, but she wasn't happy because I didn't have the heated blanket on. She's a pampered cat. Yesterday morning, because I went back to bed, and I didn't go live yesterday, did I? And I went back to bed to have a snooze. I had breakfast in bed. I took my breakfast upstairs, came down, fed the cats, took my breakfast upstairs, and I fell asleep. Next thing I know, I can't breathe because she's literally sleeping on my head with her tail around here. She's like clinging to me, bless her. I love her to bits, but she's very, very, very naughty. You will have received the same treatment as everyone else who is arrested and detained, held in a tiny cell with only a thin mattress and a toilet for company, microwave meals, no shoes or belts or laces or anything like that. Yeah. I did see a really funny meme, though. I did see a really funny meme, and it's a bit sensitive, but I'm going to read it out to you. I'll share it on here later. Let me just go into my gallery. Hang on a second, guys. So it's a guy standing over a desk, you know, questioning him. And he says, the newspapers are going to be tough on you. And prison is very, very hard on people who hurt kids. If you get the opportunity, you should unalive yourself. I know it's not really funny, but it is sort of funny. Yeah. I'm glad that he will have received the same treatment, Chris, that there's no royal suite for royal visitors in the prisons. Yeah, I'm disgusted with the whole thing. My mum, I'll eat that in a bit, otherwise you'll hear me crunching and munching. My mum, she said she kept switching over to watch it. And I said, Mum, you're not going to see anything else. They're just going to play you the same stuff over and over again, that he was arrested and stuff. But that image of him in the back of that car was absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. That's the picture of the year. When we had the when we were in COVID, and Sarah Everard was unalived, and we had the vigil, and the red-headed actress, I can't remember her name now, Penny, is it Paula? Penny? I seem to think it's Penny. And she was being arrested. That image to me was the image of that year. Meant still annoying but loving. Yeah, they are, aren't they? They can be very annoying, but they are loving. Thank you for popping Daily Blase's link there, Chrissy. Excellent stuff. Yes. Hi, Daily. Lovely to see you. Thank you, Darren, for joining. I am well. It's just my legs. Oh my God, my run today. It was nearly 5K. I wanted to do 5K. And I sort of measured out the distance, and I should have gone a little bit further than I did. Anyway, so I go down. It's called the Greenway. It's the old train track that comes up to the pit head. Now, I live pretty much, the pit head was across the road from me. There's a mine shaft in my garden. So wherever I run, doesn't matter where I run here, I have to finish on an uphill because I'm at the top of the pit. So anyway, the Greenway is the old train line that used to come past the mine, you know, and get all the coal on, and it goes to Cresswell that way and to Chesterfield that way, and it's like that. So there's this constant, no matter which way I go, I'm going to go downhill first and uphill last. So downhill, I went really fast. My speed was like 7:59 at one point, so I was really pleased with that. But coming back, oh my God, it's just a constant uphill, and it feels like a mountain. It does feel like a mountain. Crazy Horses. I remember that song by, was it the Osmonds? Looking forward to Friday Frolic. It's time to frolic, you frolickers. Absolutely agree. I shall be watching while I cook my tea. Sky's only 2.5, but has already had 3 litters. Wow, I kind of rescued her, and spoiler rotten, but I don't blame you. To be honest, when they've had litters, they are a little bit more adult-like. When they kittens and they haven't had litters, they're still kittens. Let's have a look. Blah, blah, sick of my messages not posting. Oh, that's odd, blah, blah. That's odd, because I've not. Patsy Stevenson does. Thank you. I knew it was a P. That's weird, blah, blah. There must be some reason. I don't know. I don't know enough about YouTube and the chat. So if anybody wants to say or tell me what the reasons are, that I do have limits on certain words. So you may need to use asterisks or, you know, something. All I will say is it will be interesting what might be found on Andrew's electronic devices. And trust me, they will have seized and be forensically examined. Oh, goody. goody. Will we ever see it, though? Will we ever see it? I think we can all imagine what's on there, can't we? Hi, Mithril. Lovely to see you. Thanks for joining. Good to see you. Right. So let's get down to business. I want to talk today about fucking Suella Braverman's comment about equality rights and getting rid of them. This is so bad for the vast majority of us that are on the chat, and for anybody with mental health issues, any trans and possibly gay rights, any women's rights, and even some men's rights as far as working is concerned. Sorry, must drink my coffee before it goes cold, because it's good coffee. If I'm going to drink coffee, this one is some Colombian one. It's like got a fruity flavor. It's really nice. Chrissy, coming back to this, we won't see what was discovered on the devices, but if it goes to court, it will be reported on what type of material was discovered. Excellent. Hopefully somebody will do a documentary about it as well in the future, and we'll have a bit more information on it. Damage limitation by monarchy trying to preserve itself for a wee bit longer. Yeah, Rosemary's, I know. Yeah, I mean, Charlie has said, that he backs whatever they do, they must go through the law. But what is happening to Trump? Why aren't we seeing him go through the same shit? And then as well, I saw a headline that he's going to be releasing some alien and UFO files, obviously to distract from the Epstein stuff, because Andrew has been arrested or is being investigated allegedly for these alleged crimes. Must be careful, must be careful. So, yeah, and it's just a distraction. We all know there are aliens. We all know this. The aliens are in power, the lizards of the royal family. It wasn't important, just a comparison to another troublesome ex-royal that joined the quiet invisible. Was that Edward? Not Edward. Was it Edward? Edward? Yeah, it was Edward, wasn't it? The brother of King George, who got kicked out, and they used the excuse that it was because he wanted to marry Mrs. Simpson, but apparently he was a Nazi. I think Graham mentioned that this morning, didn't he? I just, when I spoke to my mum, I just thought, yeah, I'm not going to try and convince her of the politics of the man, because, it's difficult to explain, I think, to older people, and they want a lot of older people, not all older people. And I'm not even calling it boomers, because it's generations, No, don't bring me Tesco again. Go away. I've already shopped, can't afford to shop anymore this month. Yeah, and I think a lot of older people look at the royal family as their true Britishness, and the vast majority of us in the modern era, we look at it as a drain on society, which it is. It is. And like you guys, I don't think it should exist. I don't. Oh, Diana. Yeah. Diana. Trump is protected by his fans. He has made sure of that. Yeah, he has. Diana. Yeah, I know that whole. Bless her. She was a lovely, lovely lady. She really was. And she was so mistreated by the royal family and Charlie and everything that went on there. Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Just horrible. I was living in South Africa at the time, and I was at a conference when it happened. It was a sales conference. I think it was a Saturday when we found out the news, and we were all just in tears because of the good work that she did and the impact that it had on the world. I mean, I remember working with one guy who actually bought a plane ticket to come to the UK purely so he could be there in the crowd to watch the funeral procession. That is how much, she was loved by people all over the world. He was South African. He wasn't English. And yeah, it just shows you the impact that she had. And now I think when we look at the monarchy, you know, since Lizzie died, it's just sad. I wish she was still alive to see this. I really, really do. I wonder what she'd have to say. She's probably tossing in her grave. Elle, finally unpacked shopping, which I'm the same with supermarkets. Thankfully, Validate helps me getting my shopping. I panic. I even wear a face mask to minimize the odds of confrontation. Yeah, I last time I went to the doctors, I wore a face mask. It was when that really bad flu was about, and I sat completely away from everybody else, and I was using the sanitizer. And even when I went to the dentist last week, I always use the sanitizer that's on the desk. And then when I get in, I was like, can I wash my hands? Because I hate the feel of sanitizer. Before I go, I do the same thing. I only go to the smaller ones with my son to help out. The biggest bunch of scroungers are the royal family, closely followed by the lords and politicians. Absolutely agree with you. Edward was a nasty meeting Fittler, writing letters in support. Yeah. Diana died on a Sunday, 31st of August, 1997. Right. So, yeah, it must have been the sales conference on the Sunday then, because I remember I was sitting in a big arena at the time. And I even remember what I was wearing. I had this peachy coloured jumper because I was in sales conference. I couldn't go goth. So it's a peachy coloured jumper. And it had like puffy sleeves. It was a really nice coloured jumper. And I had a black skirt on, still black. But the peach was to sort of soften the look a bit. The Queen knew that's why she went ill, as it was her favourite kid. Yeah, he was her favourite kid. Rosemary's saying, in and out, know what I want, and then they go and spoil it all by doing something stupid like move it about. Yeah. In, out, shake it all about. Yeah, absolutely. I hate that. So I do my shopping on the app, either with Whoosh or with the proper delivery. I do the proper delivery because you can't get everything on Whoosh, and so I do the proper delivery every couple of weeks. But I order my cat food now from Amazon. It's cheaper, and my litter from Amazon as well. It's also cheaper. So you've got to, you know, go with what's cheaper for you. Heartbreaks thinking what a 19-year-old girl went through. Yeah. 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 I think you all know how I feel about women and our women's rights. So I'm going to read for you now that I've sort of done the whole blah bit. Not blah, you know, blurb. I'm going to read, this came up on my feed earlier. It's, but it's from yesterday. No, go away. Not you guys, the pop-up. This was from the Daily Mirror yesterday. So I only saw it this morning as I was scrolling through Facecrack. Keir Starmer slams reforms plans to axe Equalities Act as anti-British. I agree, it is anti-British. I actually put a comment up on the post that this came on because I saw comments on there that were absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Just bringing down Starmer, which, you know, I've got no comment neither here nor there. I'm sure I screenshotted it. Yeah, I did. So some people had put comments on like, you know, to do with Starmer, he doesn't know what he's doing and who cares, and I'm still voting reform and so on and so on. So I actually put a comment on there saying all women and men who support us should be very afraid of what reform would do to women. They want women to breed. They want women to marry and breed, taking away our rights to freedom. Please, the older generation of women, you fought for your freedoms to open a bank account without a man signing it for you. You fought for your rights for women to buy your own houses and equal pay for employment. You fought for femicide to be recognised as a crime. And now we are fighting for justice for women and girls who have been trafficked and groomed. Don't give it all away. Allow the younger generations of women to have the same privileges as you. Because unfortunately, there is that sort of thought process from the older generations that, oh, you know, I like reform because they're going to get rid of migrants, but they don't care about what's going to happen to the later generations. They don't care what's going to happen to my niece and nephew. I mean, you know, was it Generic this week that was talking about lowering the minimum wage, or was it the other one, Tice? I can't remember which one it was. They're all the same. They all spout the same shit. And he was saying, excuse me, get rid of the minimum wage, lower the minimum wage. How's that going to work? And then, another one was saying about, oh yeah, the Gorton and Denton guy, they're talking about putting the 2-child benefit cap back, but the Gorton and Denton guy wants women to breed. How are women supposed to support them? You know? The Equality Act protects the following: age, disability, gender reassignment, marriage and civil partnership, pregnancy, maternity, race, religion or belief, sex and sexual orientation. Yeah. I picked out the 3 main ones because I think for me, I could sit and talk about everything, but we'd be on here for hours. And I want to go and chill a bit this afternoon and then catch up with Daz. I hope you don't mind me calling you Daz, Darren. It's just an English thing. You know, who remembers... I actually have it over there. Sue Townsend, Diary of Adrian Mole. Age, I can't remember which age he was, because there was. I've got them all because I actually love those books. Diary of Adrian Mole, and there was Daz Baz, group of friends that he had. Daz Baz, and 2 others. And because my dad was called Barry, and he hated being called Baz. Absolutely hated being called Baz. So yeah, and there's a guy that walks his dog, and his name's Daz. So, and I'm, you know, whenever I introduce myself, I'm like, I'm Debs, because it's just easier. You know, it's just easier than giving my full given name. Yeah. Was in Aldi with my son. He went to get something else. Lovely young girl packed it for me. I have a knackered shoulder. She was lovely. That's it. You know, Rosemary, sometimes you get really, really lovely people working there. But I found my Aldi, the people that work at the tills are not interested. They're just not interested. They're busy talking on their things to whomever. Adrian Mole has grown up now. He has a mole man. Hans Moleman in The Simpsons. He is grown up now because he still was trying to marry, was her name Patricia? His the girl that he liked, and she went and joined the Tories, and Cappuccino Years it was called. Adrian Mole and the Cappuccino Years. I loved those books. They were really funny. I think because it came out the same time as I was that age. Not a problem, my friends. Always call me Daz growing up. They called me much worse. Yeah. Pandora, that's it. Thank you, L. Pandora. I knew it was a P. Peas today. Peas. No, I did go for a pee before I sat down here. I would love to know how cutting or scrapping the minimum wage will help bring down the so-called high unemployment rate, which, by the way, is at 5.2%. Yeah. Well, Chrissy, my thoughts are that they'll scrap the minimum wage and then probably scrap benefits. So people who aren't working at all will be sleeping in tents on the street. That was another article that I wanted to talk about, but I might leave that for Sunday, actually, because I've got enough things open here. I found a really good article last night, and yeah, I'll leave that for Sunday, I think. But it's not going to help. You know, my nephew is on minimum wage for that age group, because he's within that age group, and he works hard. He had a job. As soon as he could get a job, he did. He started off being a pot washer, and he found it so difficult because the sink was so low. He was working at a Chinese restaurant, and obviously Chinese people are short, and he's taller than me. I'm 6 foot. He must be 6'2" now. And I think he's still growing. And he goes to gym, so he's quite big, but he runs as well. And he's a lovely lad. He's really, really lovely. And he loves money because he likes designer stuff. When he was younger, you could buy him Lynx Africa. That was his fragrance. Now, God knows what he uses. It's so expensive. So I just give him money for Christmas and his birthday because I wouldn't know what to get him. 0 hours contracts will be all the rage. Absolutely, they will be. They will be. Wake up, they will be. And it's terrifying what is going to happen to the younger generations. And this is why we, as a collective, need to do our bit to try and get the younger generations out there to vote, to understand the voting system. And I know that a lot of the younger generations are Green supporters because of the climate action, because of their own interests. My advice is vote. What's the bloody word I'm looking for now? I've just gone blank. Vote strategically. Don't let reform get in. I would rather have the Tories in than reform, because reform will completely bugger up the country. They will turn it into, they'll turn it back into what it was pre last century. They'll turn it into that. But the boomers, not all boomers, will say that reform, scrapping minimum wage and welfare is exactly what the younger generations need to kick up the backside. Exactly, Chris C. And it's not all boomers, that's it. There was a post last night on Facebook of a tin bath in front of a fire. And people, oh, yeah, I used to do that and this, that, and the next thing. I'm like, you are all living in a nostalgic time that doesn't bloody exist anymore. I'm like, I don't want to get into the bath and be the third person to sit in the dirty water. I want to have a private bath. And it might have been fun, but you got one bath a week. And, don't throw the baby out with the bath water is the saying that comes from there, that the baby was the last one to be bathed. Conscription will be introduced soon, I bet. Rosemary's, I think that may happen anyway, due to the ongoing Ukraine, Russia, Iran, Israel, Gaza, God knows, Palestine, I think that is something that is coming down the line. Two cheeks of the same arse, absolutely. Elle, don't suppose you had a friend called Surf. Persil, maybe. He was the bold one. Brilliant. Don't have a squeaky tank, so we have Squeaky, Spike. Pete's not here, is he? I'd love to find out what's happening with McSpike. And of course, baby Nessie. I'm usually the second in the bath, as grandson like to go splishy splashy with granddad. You see, that's okay. But if, I'm guessing you've got a proper bath, not a tin bath in front of the fireplace. And my mum has, she wistfully thinks of those days gone by. And I'm like, Mum, but isn't it nice now that you've got a bath that you can take? Well, she can't bath anymore. She has to shower. But, that you have a bath that you can sit down in and relax, and, you don't have to worry about somebody else sat there or stood there watching you or waiting their turn. Chris C, same here. I've got the sun shining and the rain falling, so there's probably a rainbow somewhere. It's not, he soaks my balls. So the boomer population have enjoyed the very best life, and now they want to deny it to the future generations. My response to them is get fucked. Absolutely, completely agree with you, Chris C. It's like they'll say, come up and say, I had a paper round. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to deliver papers. Yeah, people don't buy papers anymore. People read their stuff on, on Tinterweb. And it is this thought pattern of, yeah, those were the days. But they weren't the days. They didn't know an indoor toilet. They didn't know the joys of a proper shower. They didn't know the joys of a proper cooker, that the wife didn't have to get up at ridiculous o'clock to clean out the grate and build the new fire and, bake her own bread. And I mean, I remember the bread shortage as well, and people queuing up for the bread. And then we have the water shortage and people queuing up for water and everything. I don't want to go back there. I remember the roads with there being hardly any cars on my street. I like my car, even though it's parked in the garage most of the time. I like the knowledge that I've got a car there and can use it if I need to. I'm not anti-elderly. I am anti-disrespectful elderly. Yeah, absolutely. Peers short-sightedly over the top of your magazine. I think that, it is that there is a certain level of nostalgia. I mean, I look back to the 80s and the 90s and remember my days of, dancing around in the nightclubs to punk and goth and stuff, and just, and I would love to go back to that. But times change. And, I still listen to that music, and I go to festivals and stuff, but there are no local clubs anymore like that. There is in Sheffield. There's a corporation in Sheffield, and I know there are a couple of goth clubs in Leeds as well, because Leeds is like one of the main areas for goths. And, they had Goth Fest a few years ago, which I went to, which was brilliant. So back to Starmer's words. He's basically said it's shocking and anti-British. And I agree, it is anti-British. The PM tore into reform after they vowed to rip the 2010 law and warned that it could lead to more discrimination against women. In a call for British values of tolerance and compassion, Starmer added he shuddered to think what women would make of the policy. On Tuesday, Braverman, who was sacked by the Tories for breaching the ministerial code, said she would abolish the act, which was passed by Gordon Brown's Labour. In an interview with the BBC Breakfast, the PM slammed the pledge. He said, "Can I just say how shocking it is that Reform are suggesting that we tear up the Equalities Act? This is decades of protection, and it goes, I think, it's supposed to be against basic values, one of which is, should women be treated equally with men?" And don't forget, what's his face, dickhead from Gordon and Denton, he wants to do away with women's rights. He doesn't believe that women should have rights. Women should be breeders. It's that simple. He wants women to be breeders. That is core, that is British, that is something which was fought for, the right for women to be treated equally with men, for Reform to say no more. It'll now, under their watch, be all right to go back to the old days where women were not treated equally. I shudder to think what any of the women watching this would think of someone who says, I want to rip up the proposition that women should be treated equally with men. And I think that's what we need to try and remind the older generations of, is that they had all of those, they fought for those rights. Their ancestors fought for those rights, and they went on to fight for the rights into the 60s and 70s, and it's continued. And now they want to take it away. And I feel that a vast swathe of the older generations will be like, well, I didn't have that, so why should they? But isn't that what we fought for? So that future generations could have these things. Braverman has claimed repealing the Equalities Act would lead to a country defined by meritocracy, not tokenism, and said the current law created division and victimhood. However, the PM pointed it offered protections to people from racism. He said, to take another example, that you should be treated equally regardless of your race. We know where all this was years ago in this country. We know the battles that were fought, many of them by the Labour Party, to get proper equality. We know the examples of landlords who used to have signs on the door about who could stay in their property or not. I mean, I lived in South Africa. I saw those signs, whites only, you know, net slechts or slechts that... I can't remember now. Where's Kirsty when I need her? Matt Goodwin, that's it. Thanks, Diz. Oh, Braverman is evil, definitely. She has horns that come out at night, most definitely. She sits there. She's got the inverted pentagram, and she, yeah, definitely has a tail as well. I loved 80s music, punk, ska, and Susie. Oh, I love Susie. That's a Susie badge. It's from the All Hallows album that was released 2 years ago on Halloween, and I got the album, ordered it, and then I also ordered this year the CD, and I've got the t-shirt and I've got the badge. Susie's one of my favorites. I used to dress like Susie, do the makeup like Susie. She was just like my idol, just absolute idol. Absolutely. And I didn't get to see her. A mate of mine had a ticket, and he said, do you want to come with me? And unfortunately, I couldn't get there because it was down in London, and I just couldn't afford to get there. I went to a theatrical production of War of the Worlds yesterday. It was deeply surreal, but very enjoyable. Wow. I've still got my double vinyl of War of the Worlds. I remember one class, I think the teacher must have thought, like, sod it, I'm going to sit at the back picking my nose, because he brought in his turntable and record vinyl of War of the Worlds, and we got to listen to it over 2 days. So, yeah. And it was like brilliant then, and it's still brilliant now. Still brilliant now. David Essex, brilliant. Jeff Wayne, brilliant. Love it. I mean, even the newer versions of War of the Worlds as well, like the one that had Tom Cruise in, I actually enjoyed that too. Anything about aliens, really, I enjoy. I think, you know, got my suitcase packed. I'm ready to go. Come and get me. Come and get me off this hellhole. It seems to me that a future reform government are desperate to take the country back 100 years. Absolutely, Darren. Back to past where there's no welfare state and rickets and women and minorities are second-class citizens. Exactly. Something I want to play for you. I hope you can hear this. And I hope it comes up, and it's probably going to be an ad first because it's on YouTube. Hang on. It's from Nick Ferrari's show. I know, I don't like him, but it's the caller that you need to hear here. Here.
Remove all minimum wage legislation. It's absolute nonsense that the government is involved in this. The wage set should be purely what a business can afford or want to pay in an irrational marketplace. That is how it will be. And if the government really wanted to help workers of all ages, especially young workers, they'd stop all immigration.
Nick, some would say, what the dickens are you talking about? Because we'll just have Scrooge bosses paying people pennies.
No, we wouldn't, because they wouldn't be able to get workers to come and work. It's a free marketplace, and if they don't like the wages and they don't like the work, don't take the job. There is absolutely no reason why employment shouldn't be arbitrated between an employee and employer.
All right, so a boss decides to sack a woman because she's got pregnant. What are you going to do then?
Oh, I would allow it to happen.
What? Have you not had enough sleep?
Remove all.
I would allow pregnant women to be sacked. One of the rights that we have fought for so many years is to have paternity leave and maternity leave, and still fighting to try and get an equal level of pay. You know, the pay, the the equal pay thing is still not equal, and there's a lot of reasons for that, and I have spoken about it before. I'm not going to speak about it today because it's very complex, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that women often leave and to have babies, and when they come back they start down at a lower salary where they should be on the same salary, if you know what I mean. So men have that higher glass ceiling, whereas women have to start all over again after giving birth. It's like, you know, if you are in a sort of a certain type of job, let's say you're in the corporate environment and you take a couple of years off and you go back to that corporate environment, you're not going to be paid at the same level that you were. You'll have to go back down. And that shouldn't be the case. If you've got that experience and that knowledge, you should be paid a decent salary. But to get rid of minimum wage, like you guys have said, it'll be 0-hour contracts. It'll be, you won't get holiday pay. You won't get sick pay. Like Darren said there, Ricketts going back to, you know, Charles Dickens era. And he said Dickens there, didn't he? But literally going back to workhouses. Literally, you will be, because people will not be able to afford to live in a home. People will not be able to afford to live in a house. Look at the prices of houses. The average price of a house is just below 250,000. Kids these days can't afford that. You know, where I live, you can get houses for about sort of 70 to 100,000, but still, you know, these are teeny tiny little houses, the old Victorian pit houses, which are along here. I don't own a house. I don't own a house. I rent. I might be getting a new boiler. Keep your fingers crossed. I've got the gas people coming back on Monday to turn off the gas for the day and then come back to turn it on to see if there are any leaks and stuff. So let's hope that I get a new boiler. Wouldn't that be nice? It'd save me a shit ton of money when it comes to paying the bloody gas bill, because this is a big house, but the radiators, some of them are so old and, you know, they'll be rusted inside. So the rust, yeah, you guys know what I mean. I mean, I've got in the living room, I've got a small convection heater, which warms the room up really nicely. And then I've got my electric blanket with another blanket over the top, so it keeps the heat in. And then I always put a hot water bottle behind my back. Oh, Draka saw a UFO once. It was shadowing an RAF training flight path. So I presumed it was an American secret weapon under development. I expected it to be revealed at Fiat, but 25 years later, nothing. I've seen a UFO when I was living in South Africa. We'd not been there very long, and it was a new sort of area that we were living in. I think I've talked about this before. And it was a new village that was just being built. And we were in the back garden of somebody's house, like where we lived at the time. A lot of English people moved into the same area. They were all emigrated over to work in a specific factory. And I don't know if you guys remember Rockware Glass. I think it's still known as Rockware. I'm not 100% sure, but there was a factory in St. Helens that closed down, and the one in Doncaster was still open, and my dad worked there, and he saw this position for South Africa and decided, because they were all worried that with St. Helens factory closing down, that the Doncaster factory will close down too. This was at the time of Thatcher, you know, that era where everything was being closed, where it was the pits, and, you know, so we went over there anyway. So we're in this back garden of these friends, and it was nighttime, and we'd had a barbecue during the day, a braai as we call it there, and we were just, and I'm like, look at that, what is that? And it was moving like a normal pace, and then all of a sudden it just sped up and went up. Now, this is going back to the early 1980s. We didn't have the amount of satellites that we have now. We were close to the airport, to Oliver Tambo, which used to be called Jan Smuts, which was by Edenvale, but there would be no flights at that time of night. and it was not a plane, because the planes would have been going the opposite direction to what this was going. So yeah, that was definitely a UFO. Did you think it's spring? Mess up your hibernation? Hey, Trip, lovely to see you. Thank you for joining. Yeah, I wish it would. I wish spring would hurry up and actually be spring. I'm sick of this rain. I'm sick of the cold. I'm sick of the mud. I'm having to run different routes and I don't like it. That caller sounds like he is in the boomer generation. By the way, minimum wage forces the likes of Mike Ashley to pay a decent wage. Otherwise, his staff would be on pennies an hour. Well, that's it. You know, it just is a ridiculous suggestion to lower minimum wage. When minimum wage, anybody who works minimum wage has to top up with benefit in order to live, in order to buy food and pay rent and pay for gas and transport to work, you know, pay for kids. It is just absolutely ridiculous. These people have no clue what it is like to live in a place where you are reliant on the benefits coming in to support you. I know you guys, a lot of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see some comments here. We are all well. We're just grinning. We're gritting our teeth, Trip. We're gritting our teeth at the moment. Let's have a look. More of a rictus grin. Absolutely one of those. Yeah. Workhouses and paupers prisons. That is what some of the population want to see. I know, because they think that the youth are feckless and lazy, because working from home is not a proper job. Doing this is not a proper job to them. They don't understand and realize, and I'm sure that Darren knows, that the amount of work that you put into either recording a video or doing a live stream, you know, having your tabs open on your computer. I mean, I'm still learning this shit. So, you know, and making sure that you've got enough information to talk about your topic and that you don't look stupid. It's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, I'm good at waffling, so that's all right. I'm really good at waffling. But when it comes to, you know, getting the information ready, I sit at night in bed going through the papers. Oh, that looks good. I'll read that article and then I'll talk about that one. Because obviously I know that a lot of other content creators are going to be talking about the main topics of the day. And I think it's good to bring in some other topics of the day that are not the main stories, things that we may have not all seen. Hi, Draka. I did say hello, Draka. You were talking about the aliens. Billy, have you appeared? Hello, Billy. Lovely to see you. Chris, breaking news. Supreme Court strikes down Trump's tariffs with 178 on the line. Is that billion or 175 billion? Oh, it is a B at the end of it. It looked like an 8. Even though the new still can't bloody read properly. Just back from the school run, Billy. Well done. At least the days are a bit bright. No, it is now because the rain clouds have moved. But my God, I've been getting up and it's so dark, and then it gets so dark. And my house faces south. So they're not really longer yet. 21st of March, equal day, equal night. Can't wait. Diz, I would love to know where the 175 billion generated by the tariffs went, because it didn't go to the American public. No, it didn't. It went to Trump's Golden Ballroom. Ella Bella. Oh, I like that. That's really nice. Ella Bella. I really like that. Sun showed its face for a whole 5 minutes here. Yeah, I think it's out now, but I can't really see it properly. It's reflecting off of something. A puddle, probably. Yes, thank you for putting up the link to Darren Friday Frolics. Pardon me, his account in Qatar. Either one. either one is account in Qatar, the golden ballroom, is golden toilets. It's so tacky, so tacky. So yeah, minimum wage. So what are the equality rights that we will lose? I've got the women's ones here. I copied and pasted it. I screenshotted it earlier when I was doing stuff. My mum's rang again. She's rung 3 times. She's probably panicking. Bless her. She'll be getting stressed. She'll be getting stressed. Hang on, guys. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, when it comes to mobile phones. So the rights that we will lose. Over the past 120 years, roughly 1905 to 2025, women in the UK have moved from having almost no formal political rights to achieving full legal, reproductive and economic equality with men. This transformation was driven by activists, the suffragists and the suffragettes, and solidified by feminist movement in the 60s and 70s. Here are the key women's rights achieved in the UK over the past 120 years, broken down by category. So we've got political rights and suffrage. 1918, the right to vote. Allowed women over 30 to vote who met property qualifications. 1918, the right to stand for Parliament. The Parliament Qualification of Women Act allowed women to be elected as MPs, and I'm pretty sure they were only the posh ones. 1919, access to professions. The Sex Disqualification Removal Act allowed women to serve on juries, become magistrates, and enter professions like law and accountancy, because prior to that, we were only allowed to be like nurses and shop assistants and stuff. 1928, universal suffrage. The Equal Franchise Act gave all women over 21 the right to vote on the same terms as men. So it took another 10 years for all women over 21 to get that vote. 1958, the House of Lords. Women were allowed to sit in the House of Lords for the first time. Under economic and workplace rights, 1970. So it took until 1970, Equal Pay Act. This groundbreaking law made it illegal to pay women less than men for the same work. 1975, Sex Discrimination Act made it illegal to discriminate against women in employment, training, and education. 1975, pregnancy protection. The Employment Protection Act 1975 provided protections against dismissal due to pregnancy. And that's what that guy wanted to do. He wanted to get rid of women's rights for pregnancy in the workplace. 1986, maternity pay. Statutory maternity pay was introduced, ensuring women received income during maternity leave. 2010, Equality Act merged previous legislation to strengthen protection against pay gaps and discrimination covering sex, marriage, and maternity. 2017, gender pay gap reporting. Companies with over 250 employees were mandated to publish their gender pay gap. Reproductive rights and bodily autonomy. 1961 to 67, the pill. The contraceptive pill became available via the NHS in 61 for married women and was made available to all women regardless of marital status in 1967. 1967 again, the Abortion Act legalised abortion in England, Scotland and Wales up to 28 weeks, but it's now been reduced to 24 weeks. 2019, abortion in Northern Ireland decriminalised, bringing Northern Ireland in line with the rest of the UK, which, because obviously Ireland has the Catholicism, which at that stage refused for women to have abortions. And of course, women had to be married. And obviously here it was the same thing. But I think Catholicism still has quite a lot of that ingrained into their beliefs. Social and family rights, 1923, equal divorce rights. Women gained the same grounds for divorce as men, adultery. 1926, property rights legislation ensured, that was a mouthful, legislation ensured women could hold and dispose of property on the same terms as men. 1974, Women's Aid, the establishment of the first network of refugees for victims of domestic abuse. 1976, domestic violence protection, the Domestic Violence and Matrimonial Proceedings Act 1976 provided legal protection. 1991, marital grape criminalized. It became a criminal offense for a husband to grape his wife. I don't know where you're phoning from. Go away. Sorry, more calls coming through. They can fuck off. Notable firsts and representation. In 1919, Nancy Astor became the first woman to take her seat in the House of Commons. 1979, Thatcher became the first female prime minister, but was she? You know, she was put there for a reason. 1992, Betty Boothroyd became the first female Speaker of the House. 2013, royal succession laws changed, so a firstborn daughter inherits the throne equally to a son. 2024, the general election returned the highest number of female MPs in UK history. So yeah, continuing challenges for women. I know I'm only talking about women here. I do have stuff for disability and trans rights here as well. Despite these legal milestones for the past 120 years have shown that legal equality does not immediately equal social equality. Ongoing issues include the gender pay gap, which I did mention earlier, the cost of childcare, and the high rate of domestic homicide victims being female. So we still have a long way to go as women. And I ask all women and all men who are, you know, on our side as protectors of women, not the flag shaggers and not those that claim to look after women and girls, but those or no, it wasn't listed on there, Elle. It wasn't listed on there, but this was the AI generated thing. So I didn't have a chance to go through the whole thing on the actual equalities website thing. But yeah, Diane Abbott, the first Black female MP in Parliament, and still one of the best. And she left, didn't she? Did she retire last year? Bless her. Bless her. She was treated so badly, so badly by so many people. And yeah. So we still have a long way to go. And all we ask is that men who do actually respect women and women's rights stand with us to protect those rights, rather than the far right who would rather women be in the house. Meanwhile, they know that they need two incomes in order to survive. There's it's this lack of being able to think clearly. They sort of think, oh, yes, women must be in the kitchen and I will be the breadwinner, but who's going to pay for the kids? Sorry, I've seen a couple of witchy goth things here, so coming to them now. 1 hour 33-minute warning. Thank you, Elle. Yes, I'm not going to encroach on Darren's time. No, we must all go over and watch Darren's show because he's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Love his stuff. The hours I've spent looking for material, either for a live stream or an upload, is immense. So much so I need the weekend for myself, and totally agree with you. Yeah, it is. It's a huge amount of work. So, I mean, Darren, you get a lot of stuff from sources that I don't even get a chance to look at, which is great. So that gives us not just LBC or, BBC or whatever. You go and find a lot of the stuff from the radio channels, which I love as well. And not all of us have the time to do that. And also you spend hours watching Houses of Parliament as well. A lot of, because most of us will watch PMQs, which, to be honest, I've not watched anymore. I just think it's a waste of time. I will watch the clips if they're making fun of Froggage, because I can't stand the man. Cannot stand the man. Just, he makes my skin crawl. So yeah, it does take a huge amount of time. I mean, Darren, your videos are far more advanced than mine. You obviously have the software and everything and the know-how that I don't have. But one day I'll get there. I know Mikey from the BIM podcast has offered to help me. It's just finding the time to actually get to that, because I've got a form that I need to complete and stuff that needs to be done in the next couple of days. So Yeah, and I've been promising to get to my emails for days, and I'm sorry, guys. I know, I will get to you, hopefully over the course of the weekend. I can't believe maternity rights is still an issue, especially with an aging population. It's not at the moment. We do have rights to, for pregnancy and work up until, and get that right. But a lot of employers will, may not, they're not supposed to, but they find ways around it. They do find ways around making sure that the woman who is pregnant, and let's say she wants to take a year off to look after the kids, there can be issues there. And that's the problem when they come back to work. Let's say they've taken 2 years off. They were doing this job. Let's say they were in accounting and they were being paid, let's say, $2,000 a month. So they were being paid $2,000 a month. And over those 2 years, there has been an increase, okay, in what they will be paid. So let's say that the increase has gone up to $2,250. So 2,250. I'm just making up figures here. I'm not saying that would be the increase rate. So that woman comes back to work and she has to go back to 2,000. So that 250 that would, be the increase, she would probably have to go back to that 2,000. It's shit. So-called British civilization is going backwards. It absolutely is. DB, Maggie and Garen must be a godsend. You can always depend on them for material. Let's have a look. Swedish women didn't get the vote until 1971. I didn't know that, Rosemary. Thank you for letting me know. That's strange, because I would have said that Sweden's quite a progressive country, or is that just recently? Crumbs from my biscuit. I hate that. I hate getting crumbs. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Flag shaggers too cool for school. Happy to use trans invented tech. Absolutely. Work-life balance is crucially important for our health. Absolutely, Rosemary's. And I think that, I have mental health issues. And I made the decision this week that I was going to take Thursdays as my day off because I needed a break. And I had things to do yesterday, but I didn't do them. Went for a run, and then I sat watching shit and reading and not doing what I had intended to do. But I needed to do that. I used to live with Radio 4 on everywhere with me, but I've kind of fallen out with some of the recent program changes. Yeah, absolutely. I used to listen to Radio 2 a lot when I was at work because they had Radio 2 on, the guys that I worked with. So I did actually enjoy the questions that they had in the morning at 10 o'clock. I was always really good at getting the answers right. So yeah, let's come to trans equality rights. It's sorry guys, it's telling me it's thinking. Right, this is just a brief list of trans rights. So there are more, I know that, but this is just the AI generated stuff here. So transgender equality rights in the UK are primarily covered by the Equality Act 2010, which protects against discrimination based on the gender reassignment characteristics. Protection applies to anyone proposing, undergoing, or having undergone a process to change their sex without requiring medical intervention. Recent legal interpretations emphasize the distinction between biological sex and gender identity, particularly regarding single-sex spaces. And I hate that. I absolutely hate that. It's like I said, I've been going to ladies' toilets for years. I never had an issue with the trans women who've used those toilets. Never. The people that I have had issues with are men. So key aspects of the trans rights in the UK in 2026 are protection from discrimination. So it prohibits discrimination, harassment, and victimization in employment, education, and services based on gender reassignment. I've actually been watching the series of Clarice on Amazon Prime. I don't know if any of you have seen it, but it's about Clarice from Silence of the Lambs, who caught Buffalo Bill. And one of the characters in the series is actually a trans woman, and very feminine trans woman, but one of the bosses finds out the real name, and it's like, you just feel so angry for that, you know, the narrow-mindedness, I just find it shocking that people cannot accept that everybody is different, that everybody has their own differences and they can be who they want to be. It infuriates me. Why are people so scared of trans people? I can't understand it. I agree with you. Rosemary's. I do agree with you. It is, I don't understand it either. Every single trans woman I know is an absolutely beautiful, amazing person. Every single one. And I know quite a few. And there are quite a few trans women in the pagan groups that I attend. And I think because the pagan group is very inclusive in who, you know, we embrace into our belief system, you know, I just don't understand. And it is more trans women that have problems than trans men. And I'm not saying that trans men don't have problems, but trans women do suffer more problems. And it's due to people's lack of education, lack of understanding, lack of empathy. And it just makes me so angry. It's like when we went back to the 90s, when, you know, the AIDS epidemic, when it was first discovered, and it was called, was it GRIDS? Gay affective immune disorder. Gay immune, GIDS. I can't remember the name, and then they changed it to AIDS later on, because obviously it wasn't just something that gay people got. It was, you know, or caught or were, you know, found to have. And I mean, there have been huge moves forward with, you know, treatments for AIDS and for other, mothers giving birth who got AIDS to not pass that on to the babies, which is great. I just saw then, sorry, I just saw, yes, it does, Rosemary's, it does encompass disability, race, and many other things. Yeah, I had disability up, but it seems to have vanished on here. So I will try and find it in a minute. But I looked at those three: women, trans rights, and disability. But I know it includes race and so on as well. I mean, there's a whole lot of areas that it covers, and I just picked out otherwise I'd be here all day. It might actually be worth doing a whole show about rights, something to think about for the future. It's manufactured fear, it is definitely. I've met a few trans women that were arseholes, which goes to prove everyone is unique. Absolutely, blah. I'm not saying that every trans woman is, you know, we have that in all, everybody, you know, whether it's in the goth community, there will be goth women or goth men that are just, and in the pagan community, we have something called bitchcraft, where certain pagan people believe that they are better than other pagan people. And it's, you know, it is, yeah. So it happens in all areas. We are all individuals regardless, all humans, for fuck's sake. Absolutely. Absolutely. Bitchcraft, blah, blah. Yeah, it's an old term. We use it. We do use it. You know, as pagans, we're quite, we have a thing called pagan time as well. like at Beltane in Thornborough-Henge in North Yorkshire, which is, it's close to Thirsk, Ripon and Masham. It's closer to Masham really than anywhere else. Love Masham. Love going to the breweries up there. Yeah, we have pagan time, and somebody will always blow a horn. It's normally Ollie, although Ollie is now become Christian, so he doesn't really go so much anymore. He tried to convert me a couple of years ago, and I was just sat there. I said to him, look, you're not going to convert me. I am a witch. I've been a dedicated witch for 30 years. Sorry, I'm counting on my fingers there. 30 years now. I'm not going to become a Christian. I respect a Christian person. I respect a Muslim person. I respect a Jewish person. I respect a Hindu. I respect all religions. So why can't they respect mine? I got a message actually earlier on from somebody who said, would I like to take part in some Christian thing that they're doing live? And and I said, I'm really sorry. Thank you for the invitation, but it's not my thing. I'm a witch. I was polite. I wasn't nasty. And I do try and be polite. You know, when I get the Jehovah's Witnesses knocking on the door, I've had the Mormons knocking on the door as well. And I will stand and chat to them. I will chat to them. I'm not like one of those people who will slam the door in their face, because I want to understand their beliefs as well. I want to understand what, you know, what. Yesterday I was on the phone with somebody who was living in India, and he was a lovely man, and we were talking about all sorts of things, and he's named after the god Shiva, Lord Shiva, and I've got a Lord Garuda over here, who's one of my favorite gods. He's such a happy god. And, you know, we were just talking about that. It is, we can all get on. We can all get on. If we get off of this thing, well, my religion's better than yours, or it's so childish. It's so childish. Right. So coming back to trans rights. Gender Recognition Act can apply for gender recognition certificate to legally change their sex on their birth certificate. A GRC is not required to be protected under the Equality Act, though. Single-sex services providers may exclude trans people, even those with a GRC, from single-sex services, for example, toilets, changing rooms, refuges, if it is a proportionate means of achieving a legitimate aim. There's so much there that needs to be, you know, looked at and put in place. And I think it goes back to what I was saying before, that gay people in the 80s and 90s suffered through so much shit. And I remember working in an environment, I was in the music industry. So, you know, we had gay people, we had trans people. It never bothered me. But again, I'm a more open-minded person. And I was living in South Africa, which was a very conservative country at the time as well. Legal interpretation, recent rulings, including from the Supreme Court, have emphasized that for the purposes of Equality Act, sex refers to biological sex impacting access to women-only spaces. And again, I do not agree with that. I'm on the side of all my trans women and trans men friends. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Gender reassignment definition, the protected characteristic applies to individuals at any stage of transition. While protection against discrimination remains robust, recent legal developments have clarified that the legal definition of sex in the Equality Act often refers to biological sex affecting access to certain single-sex spaces. So there's still a lot that needs to be done around trans rights, and it just makes me sick that the level, and if they drop, you know, if Braverman gets rid of the Equality Act, if reform get in, all those rights will be gone. All those rights will be gone. And people such as myself, being pagan, and somebody was saying, I can't remember who it was, that we're a Christian country and everybody should become Christian. Was it Matt Goodwin who was saying that? I don't know, I can't remember now. There's so many people from Reform saying so much shit. So there goes freedom of religion. I had to present an assembly for kids with complex needs. I didn't know what it was. We had great fun. I'm a teacher, loved it. Yeah, I used to, when I used to teach yoga, I taught a few kids classes, very, very different to teaching adults, especially the little kids, you know, and they were also sort of the SEND kids that had sensory different difficulties. So we had some drums, and, you know, normally when I would teach yoga to an adult, it would be sort of like 5 minutes on a pose. So this was like very quickly positions, and I used the animal positions like the frog and the cat and, you know, the cobra pose and things like that they could understand, and told a story with it. And then we did some drumming and obviously meditation with little kids like that, just not going to happen. But then we sat in a circle and we all sang and stuff. And it, you know, it's how you present to kids. And again, that acceptance of children with disabilities. When I was young, kids like that didn't go to school, you know. You just want to pee. Off you go. There's your note. Funny, the people that wrote that part of the act said pretty much the opposite to that. Yeah. Rosemary meant Beltane. Good, still live, had to take a call, and now you need a pee. Well, you've got a permission slip, it's okay. It probably was Rupert Lowe, Rosemary's, it probably was. Love life, low life, maybe the occasional shit, yeah. I'm good for for their white Christian Taliban, thanks. Yeah, it's, yeah. Yeah. Do I still have the disability rights here? Yes, I do. I do have. Sorry, it's doing its thinking thing again. Right, so this is disability. As I say, I only pulled up these rights because otherwise I would have been here all day. So Equality Act 2010 protects disabled people from discrimination in employment, education, services and housing. It requires employers and service providers to make reasonable adjustments to remove barriers, ensuring equal access. Protection also applies to those associated with a disabled person or wrongly perceived as disabled. So definition, a person who is disabled, if a person is disabled if they have a physical or mental impairment with a substantial and long-term negative effect on their ability due to normal daily activities. Reasonable adjustments, service providers, employers and landlords must proactively make changes to ensure disabled people are not at a disadvantage. Types of prohibited discrimination: direct discrimination, treating a person less favorably because of their disability. I wish this act had come in before 2008. I'll tell you why one day. Treating someone badly because of something connected to their disability, for example, needing time off for appointments. Indirect discrimination, policies that apply to everyone but disadvantage disabled people. Harassment, unwanted behavior that violates dignity or creates an intimidating environment. Employment rights, protection covers job applications, pay promotions and working conditions. Access to work can provide support for equipment or adaptations. Public sector equality duty. Public bodies must consider the need to eliminate discrimination and promote equality in their functions. I mean, this would be, you know, if they got rid of the disability rights, disabled people would be going back, whether it's mentally disabled or physically disabled, you know, we'd be going back into asylums. Drawing on the wall in crayons with my toes while wrapped in a, yeah. I've often thought that that might be quite relaxing, really. Suffer less, you know. Let's have a look here. Witchcraft and pagan news, Conservative MP. Oh, yes, yes, Mithril. I actually did a whole video on that, my reaction. It is in my witchcraft playlist if you want to go watch it. I did do a reaction to that. Yeah. As dangerous religion threatening Christianity. Yeah, I did actually do a video on that. So you can go and have a watch of that later on, pop it into your watch later list. It is there. I was, yeah, very, very angry about that. Very angry. Very, very angry. So I actually waited a few days. I know that Pagan did a reaction video quite soon after, and then I waited a few days because I thought I'm just going to explode. So I tried to be a little bit more rational. Oh, the wee reference was to public toilets. Okay. It's what I particularly like, Britain, even though I don't live there anymore. Where do you live, David, if you don't mind me asking? You don't have to tell us if you don't want to. Where did Trip go? We miss you. I'll take a lobotomy. Yeah, I wouldn't want a lobotomy. No. Have you seen how they do a lobotomy? Had a screwdriver over here because it's one of those with the changeable things, because I was using it for small little stuff, which seems to have vanished now. Thing into the inside of the eye and a hammer. That's how they do lobotomies, or did do lobotomies. I could show you in my books actually, but I can't remember the pages now. In recent history, yes, but historically as peoples, we've pushed off the mortal coil many people who disagreed with us about the correct interpretation of a fairy story. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I was watching something the other day. God, I watch so much shit on the internet. I really do. I don't just doom scroll. I was watching something about fairy stories, and it was about Sleeping Beauty, the real castle that actually was that the Brothers Grimm based the story on. Where women were actually locked up in this tower. I went under the Brexit bus with dual passports, so been living in Denmark for the last few years. Okay. Last 6 years. Okay. That's cool. I wouldn't mind moving to Norway or Finland, to be honest, because Norway have some great metal festivals. And Finland have got some great metal bands as well. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. Nice one, Billy. Nice one. I like that. Special needs out in a remote school somewhere. Yeah, they were. They were pushed out to wherever. Yeah. Or they had to stay at home and you know, parents would have to look after them. We have a lot to learn from Denmark. We absolutely do. Through the eye. Yeah, on the inside of that part of the eye there. Trip's here. Sorry, he was doing things, showered lately, so using the momentum to do things. All the kids are ignoring me because I'm a teenage lobotomy. Gabba gabba hey. Yeah. Hi, Sir Larry. Lovely to have you here. My brain is active, though my body is weaker now. It happens to us all as we get older, and I do hear you. My run today was, yeah. You've turned into a werewolf. Nothing wrong with that, and I don't have any silver bullets, so you can carry on being a werewolf. Yeah, my legs today are feeling it, definitely feeling it, that uphill stretch. And it's not a steep uphill, it's just a constant uphill. So that is the shit that is going on at the moment. So I'm going to finish off with this. It's a bit long, but it's really, really funny. Really, really funny. So have a listen. Oh, there's an ad. I'm sorry. It's a Colgate ad, though, so we all need decent toothpaste.
Wait, have you been seeing someone else? What, like another dentist? It's just your mouth that's looking great.
When you use Colgate Total, your dentist visit becomes
I
more
use
or less
Sensodyne.
Colgate Total.
I have sensitive
Prevent problems
teeth
before they start.
from years of smoking.
Did you know that if you enter your name and a few small details into this website, it brings up all your previous car finance?
What is the main organ that is used for breathing?
Sorry?
What is the main organ that is used for breathing?
Heart.
Where is your cerebrum
I'm
located?
gonna go somewhere here.
He's pointing here.
That's where your cerebrum is located.
I think so.
What is a frog called before it's fully grown?
A frog. Egg.
What country is Amsterdam in?
Amsterdam. I know this.
Just let me know if you can all hear this.
Brother, come on. I know this, man. I know this. I know this. I know this. Amsterdam. Amsterdam.
What galaxy are we in?
What?
What galaxy are we in?
Boy, I don't know. What do you mean, what galaxy are we in? We were never taught that, was we?
Name a shape with 8 sides.
Hexagon.
Name one Scandinavian country.
Afghanistan.
The city Dubai is located in which country?
Dubai, I swear it's a religious country, innit? Like modest country. Pakistan.
What's the capital of India?
Pakistan. No. Capital of India. Is it Asia?
Amsterdam.
He's still going on about Amsterdam.
Amsterdam. Yo, I know this. Customer, I know this.
What country has the largest share of Amazon rainforest?
Africa.
How'd you get to Africa?
Rainforest, innit?
What about Brazil? Is it not in Brazil?
There's a chance in it. There might be.
50-50 in it.
50-50.
What's the capital? What's the capital of the UK?
London.
Name all the countries in the UK.
Countries.
Yeah.
Wales, Scotland,
Yeah.
England,
Yeah.
and France.
Amsterdam. From the ones who are blank, I don't know.
Name 3 countries, yeah, in Asia.
In Asia.
Yeah.
Thailand.
Yeah, correct.
Oh God. What are you guys doing here now? You know, I'm just having a beer or whatever.
It looks like he's had a few beers, this guy.
So what's the score? What's happening?
What city is the Leaning Tower of Pisa in?
Sure, it's Rome.
Of Pisa. The Leaning Tower, you know the one that's in Italy?
Rome.
Yeah,
No, I'm not wrong.
What city is the Colosseum in?
Paris.
Is your one. What's the square root of 36?
Put me on the spot here, man.
Okay.
Square root of 36.
Yeah.
60 or something.
No. What's 6 times 6?
6 times 6. 20. Not 24, is it? 20. 6 times 6.
Yeah.
I can't take my guess.
Amsterdam.
Think about it.
It's in Europe.
Yeah.
Still
it's
on
in Europe.
Amsterdam.
It's in
So think of countries in Europe.
okay, so there's
What organ is used for breathing?
organism.
I can't do the look. Wait, just wait.
What country shares most of the Amazon rainforest?
It's in Africa.
Nigeria.
The city of Dubai is located in which country?
The city of Dubai is
Yeah.
located in which country? Dubai is a country, innit?
How is Dubai a country?
Because it's a country, it's in the continent. That's how it's a country.
How many countries are in the UK?
How many countries are in the UK? I don't know, probably it's around maybe 200 nationalities. We're talking about nationalities, so how many countries about what?
What continent are we in?
What continent are we in?
What continent are we in?
Continent. We're in Britain. No. We're in a country, innit? Yeah, which is continent. So we're in Britain. We're in Britain. Great Britain.
What galaxy are we in?
Galaxy we're in. Solar system. No. It's in. There's Netherlands, there's Switzerland, there's
Still on it, still on Amsterdam.
In which
Honey, why is the
Sorry,
speaker on? But there's
advert.
absolutely no sound coming out.
That's the magic.
in which country we find the city Marrakesh?
Marrakesh?
Yeah.
I think Marrakesh. I think that is in Africa.
But in which country?
Good questions.
Very good.
Don't know. Portuguese. Marrakesh.
Marrakesh. What is the smallest
Banned
continent
from
in the world?
voting. Yeah.
Iceland. I don't know. But
What's your final answer?
smallest continent. Madagascar, Iceland, something like that.
Spell the word optimistic.
Optimistic.
Yes.
This is good.
OPTIS. OPTIS. MITIC. I think.
He ran off. The guy ran
What's the
off.
official language of Jamaica?
Is it patois? Patois? No.
Amsterdam guy again.
Yo, I don't know, man. Netherlands.
You got it. Netherlands.
Morocco.
Congratulations, bro. You won. Okay. So the first question is nice and easy. What's 111 take away 22?
111 take away 22.
Yes.
89. 89.
Correct. Well done. Now the next question is where two or more bones meet is called what?
A joint.
Correct. Well done. What is zoology, the study of?
Animals.
Which part of the skeleton protects the heart and lungs?
Ribcage.
Correct. You're on fucking well. You are flipping it. And our last question: what is half of 998?
998. 499.
Well done, brother. And where's the Eiffel Tower located?
In the middle of France.
In what city?
In Paris.
Yes, correct. And in which city would you find the Colosseum?
Rome.
Sure.
Rome, yeah.
Correct.
That's it. I'm going to link that into the description box. So yeah, what town is he doing it in? Because I'm saying, well, I'm not sure. Let me have a look at the. Doesn't say what town he's in, but I think possibly London, some part of London. Some of the comments underneath the video are hilarious as well. But yeah, Amsterdam is in the Netherlands. Marrakesh is in Morocco. I actually want to go to Marrakesh. I've got some friends at the moment who are van lifers, and they're in Marrakesh, and it looks fantastic. Yeah, balls. Marrakesh is in Morocco. It is. I really do want to go there. There's some of the food that they're taking photos of the food. It looks absolutely brilliant. And I've got some more friends that are going there as well next month. So yeah, right. I'm going to head off, guys. Please, Chris or one of the mods, if you could pop up a link again to Daily Blase's channel. Head over there at 5 p.m. Then later on there is a Thompson, and there's Maximilian Robespierre, and there's Politics Social at 9 o'clock. Thank you so much, guys, for putting all the links on. Really, really helpful. Thank you to everybody in the chat. Oh, there was a poll at the top. I don't know if you guys saw it. It was basically asking, if you were in the Gorton and Denton election, which party would you vote for? So we've got, I sort of figured this would be the outcome, to be honest. I did think this would be the outcome. So Labour on 19%, Tories and Reform on 0, and the Green Party on 81. Yeah, I did join the Greens. I did join the Greens, and I did see a bit of the agenda earlier, and politicians can change their minds, just like all of us, we can change our minds. We have, you know, that is democracy at its finest, is if we don't like what a party's doing, we can change our mind and vote for somebody else. Labour lost me with the disabilities, with the universal credit. I know that they've done U-turns on everything, but I'm still suffering with that. So why is it different? Why is what different? The poll. So anyway, if you guys would like to support the channel, there's a link in the post at the top. That we love Hannah Spencer. Yeah, she's great, blah, blah. I absolutely love her too. She's brilliant. She's a plumber. That just like goes to show you that women deserve equal rights. I'm delaying the next episodes of watching The Defectives until a week on Sunday. It's going to be a cracker. Right. The Defectives. What's The Defectives? I'm a bit lost there. Not sure what that is. But if you do want to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee. The link is in the pinned comment at the top. Or you can go onto my channel and there is a link in the description, the channel description. I will more than likely see you all. Yes, it's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock that Daily Blase is going live. So democracy is not stationary. Exactly, Rosemary. Exactly. It can be. It's a moving scale, isn't it? If you change your mind about something, like a kid can be brought up to believe in racism. They can believe that, you know, person of a different skin color is not a person. And then when they reach that level of age where they can actually start cognitively thinking about things, they say, no, that's not true. Then that child changes their minds and becomes, you know, a non-racist, becomes a lovely person, an empathic person. Oh, Reform Watch. Yes, Reform Watch. Yeah, I love that show. I love that one that he does. Watching Defectives is my deep dive into those defectors jumping from the Tories to the Reformed Party. Absolutely. I do call them deformed as well. I'll see you all Sunday evening, 6 p.m. for my Stuff and Nonsense show, where I've got quite a few interesting articles already lined up for that. Stuff may change, but I will see you then. Have a fantastic evening, a fantastic weekend. Blessed be. Bye, everybody. Where's the end button gone? The end button's vanished. They've moved it again. They've moved the bloody end button. It's there. They've moved it up there. It used to be there. Bye, guys.